Welcome to The Explainer, everyone. Today, we're diving deep into the fascinating world of cold cases. We're going to put on our detective hats, adopting a strict forensic perspective to detail exactly how modern investigators are cracking cases that people honestly thought were completely unsolvable. It's amazing to see how law enforcement brilliantly blends advanced forensic science with the raw, unpredictable nature of human psychology. Let's get started.
So, think about this. Can a guilty conscience and modern science actually solve a 30-year-old crime? I know, it sounds exactly like the plot of a Hollywood thriller, right? But this is a very real, very recent case study out of Ahmedabad that is totally redefining what we consider a cold case.
Okay, let's dive into this. Part 1. A 30-year mystery. The murder of Farzana.
Picture this. 30 years ago, Farzana's husband, Shamshuddin Musaji Khedawala, and his family members were the absolute prime suspects after a long, painful history of domestic disputes. But from a strict forensic standpoint, they had a major problem. Without definitive, physical evidence tying the suspects to the actual crime scene, the investigation just stalled out. Suspicions are one thing, but they just aren't enough in a court of law. Investigators need ironclad proof.
Just wrap your head around the sheer scale of time here. Farzana is murdered 30 years ago. For 3 entire decades, the trail goes completely, agonizingly cold. Witnesses pass away, memories fade, and crucial physical evidence degrades over time. It's literally an investigator's worst nightmare. But then, a massive breakthrough finally occurs in May of 2026.
Let's look at how this happened. Section 2. Cracking the case, the ghost, and the helix.
And this brilliantly illustrates something wild. After 30 long years, the sheer, crushing pressure of a guilty conscience actually began to break the suspects down. Literally, they felt like they were being haunted by a ghost. I mean, that is forensic psychology right there in action. But you can't convict someone on psychology alone, right? To actually lock the case down, investigators needed objective proof. Enter modern DNA analysis. It finally provided that microscopic, undeniable certainty to anchor those confessions. We're talking about advanced genetic profiling that can literally pull the truth out of decades-old samples.
I actually want to read this exact quote to you from the source reporting because it just hits the nail on the head. Guilt, DNA, and a ghost. Ahmedabad murder cracked after 3 decades. It took these two completely different elements, the subjective, emotional breakdown of the human mind, and the hard, objective certainty of forensic science to finally close this file and get justice for Farzana.
Let's move to and see how this builds. Part 3. The macro view. Piecing together justice in India.
6%. Now you might be wondering, what does that number mean? Well, according to the National Crime Records Bureau, overall crimes in India actually dipped by 6% in 2024. That's a huge deal. It's a highly significant statistical drop, and it really reflects a landscape where law enforcement and these modern forensic methods are becoming super effective deterrents. And leading this statistical charge are 3 distinct regions: Kerala, Puducherry, and West Bengal. They are absolutely pacing the nation right now in successfully solving crimes. They're mirroring the exact kind of success we just talked about in our Ahmedabad story, using modern, targeted strategies to clear their case dockets.
All right, Section 4, Evolving Motives, How Crime Landscapes Shift.
The modern crime landscape, it's incredibly diverse. Law enforcement isn't just dealing with one type of issue. They're juggling deeply personal crimes of passion and domestic disputes, shifting trends in political violence, super high-stakes financial extortions, and, yeah, the ever-rising need for cybercrime prevention. A forensic investigator's toolkit has to be incredibly adaptable to handle this wide spectrum every single day.
Take domestic disputes, for example. Even with all our cutting-edge forensics, these remain deeply personal, emotionally charged events. The source material points to a really tragic case in Raipur, where a man, who worked as a bouncer, fatally attacked his wife's 2 sisters following frequent domestic fights. These complex, messy scenes require investigators to navigate intense trauma and incredibly volatile family dynamics, all while meticulously gathering evidence.
But then, on the completely opposite end of the spectrum, we're seeing major shifts in systemic crimes. Look at the NCRB data on West Bengal. Political killings went from 47 recorded murders between 2014 and 2021 all the way down to 0 recorded murders post-2022. Understanding these shifts in macro data is absolutely vital. It helps investigative bureaus figure out exactly where to put their forensic resources and personnel.
And then you've got cases that completely flip the script, forcing investigators to pivot away from physical evidence, like DNA, to purely digital paper trails. Get a load of this case. An IAS Academy director was kidnapped and forced to transfer 1.8 crore rupees at gunpoint. Solving high-stakes financial extortions like this requires rigorous cyber forensics. You're tracking digital footprints, bank routing, communication data. It's just a completely different investigative muscle.
So, the crucial point is coming up here in Part 5. The future of forensics. No secret stays buried.
When you break it down, the modern investigator's winning formula really relies on 3 core steps. Step 1. Understand psychological behavior. You have to know how a suspect's guilt might manifest over time, just like that ghost in Ahmedabad. Step 2. Apply advanced scientific methods. This is your DNA profiling and digital tracking that hands you that undeniable proof. And Step 3. Utilize macro data. Agencies are using crime rate trends, like that 6% dip we discussed, to target their resources effectively and stay ahead of the shifting crime landscape.
Which brings us to one final lingering thought. With DNA technology bridging decades of lost time, the sheer weight of psychological pressure breaking down the toughest suspects, and digital forensics tracking our every financial move, as forensics evolve and crime drops, can any secret truly stay buried forever? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep analyzing, stay curious, and I'll catch you next time.